This episode is not your usual salon tea, unless your salon also discusses federal investigations and career pivots. For legal purposes, we at the Ladies Room Podcast do not endorse, support, or encourage the use of sale of extracurricular drugs or narcotics. Matter of fact, we've never even smoked weed a day in our lives, and we definitely don't associate with any powdery substances unless it's dry shampoo. Now let's get into it.
We had a brick. We compressed the brick in a Ziploc. Seal it.
The vacuum seal.
The vacuum seal. Big ones, because we could put a lot of cocaine around them, so that it
will blend in with the
shape.
What you make on prom weekend?
For the records, approximately.
Yes.
I'm gonna say $10,000. Introduced to this drug life, started selling drugs in high school. Of course, they will go and they will meet in the ladies' room.
Yes, ma'am. We love the ladies' room. We love the ladies' room. Yes to the ladies' room. We'll drink to the ladies' room. Oh my God, why would they do this to me?
I'm not going to go back and forth with the attitude.
Why are you still using it? It's weird.
When my hair ain't done, I don't even go on social media because I don't feel like getting judged and talked about.
Why you keep attracting certain people? Because that's what's in you.
Yes.
Saying if he want to fight me, I ain't gonna handle that.
Welcome to the ladies' room, guys. We are back. And this time, I always have a good, interesting story. And, in the ladies' room, hair is always the hot topic. But this time, I got another hot topic for you. And it is called The Wrong Player. Guys, I want you to meet Coach Purpose, a former player in a female cocaine conspiracy in the Virgin Islands, once facing 10 to 20 years, according to the federal sentencing. Let's open the doors to Coach Purpose, who's committed to changing her past into purpose. Roomies, help me welcome Coach Purpose.
Hey! Thank you, Keish, so much. This is so dope. I love it. The ladies' room is this is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Hey, Atlanta. Big shout out to Atlanta. And first of all, I want to say happy birthday to my grandbaby, Layla.
Happy birthday, Layla.
Happy birthday. So thank you. Thank you so much. And yes, the wrong players.
The wrong players.
Players.
Coach Purpose, before we start in this hot topic, let's chat. Tell me a little bit what has been going on, what's been up with you. Give me that.
Well, let's see what's going on. I am an inspirational catalyst in my community. Just coming from a dark place of being in federal prison and just being tied to the wrong choices. I'm going to say not people, but I've made some really messed up decisions that allowed me to really see life is real. Life be life. And if that's not even a real word, right? But that's what we use today. Life is really life. And you just have to be very careful who you're surrounded by, who you're connected to, because you just never know where you're going to end up in life. And I tell people, I say, I was not arrested. I was rescued because God allowed a situation to happen so I can see not only people for who they were, but to show that the purpose He had for my life, right? So a little bit about me. I'm a mother of 5 children. I was born in New York City.
Okay.
And, I come from a drug life.
Okay. Tell us about that. Take us back to how it all got started for you.
Okay, so just a little synopsis.
Yeah,
really
just
quick.
a little short, razzle-dazzle,
right? So my dad was a big-time drug dealer in New York City, and he was not...
Now, what part of New York were you?
So I'm from the Bronx, New York. Big up to BX in the building, He was a big-time drug dealer, but he was a drug dealer that was not flashy. He was just he looked like a regular street guy, Timberland boots, hoodie, and just, but he was a very big time drug dealer. And just in that game, I was introduced to this drug life. And as I became older and I went to high school. I started selling drugs in high school.
Okay.
And I went to Taft High School, which the acronym for Taft is Training Animals for Tomorrow. And that's so crazy why they say that, but that's wild to me. But
that is crazy.
That was the acronym acronym for my school because it was wild.
So that means there was a jungle.
Correct. Okay, we had like we had to go through metal detectors.
So it was almost something like, you remember the movie Lean on Me? Was it giving
That
Lean
is
on
correct.
Me?
Correct. We had to go through metal detectors. You had to put your school bag into the machine, and then you had to get
Oh,
one.
whoa.
Just like a TSA check.
Yes. Oh.
Right.
Whoa,
so,
whoa, whoa.
of course, by me selling drugs in high school, it was how do I come into the school with the crack? Because New York was good for the crack and the little vials and stuff. So, of course, I would have a special hiding place.
Okay. So what was the special hiding place?
You know, we're not going to disclose that, for purposes. We won't. We're not going to discuss it for creative purposes.
Creative purposes.
Correct.
Yes.
So, after I come in, I get, go through the little procedure of getting checked. And then I would just meet my goons, in the school, we like distribute what I got to distribute, make sure I get my money at the end of the
day.
Right.
Yeah.
Then, go back to the dad, to daddy, be like, all right, daddy, this is what,
How much would you make in one day in school? Like on a good day, on a good week. Let's say it's prom season coming up. It's prom weekend. How much would you make? Take me back to prom. How much would you make on prom weekend?
For the records, approximately,
Yes.
I'm going to say $10,000.
Whoa.
For the record, approximately.
In a week?
I mean, you selling crack. There's a lot of base heads and crackheads.
Oh,
that was big.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
No, that is nothing compared to,
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, you're in high school making
correct, because there's a lot of crackheads, there's a lot of base heads, and of course you have individuals that when you're giving them, you don't only not saying that I sold. Let's make it clear, it wasn't sold in the school.
Right, okay.
Let's make that clear.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It was like you would give them their stash, and they will go and come back and bring the money and so forth, or you will go to the trap house, which will I had my family, other family members live in. This is where we'll. Some New York, Jack City type situation. But that was nothing compared to
the life. The life.
That was just a little razzle dazzle. But that's what I was, caught up in. That's what I know. That's what, I was. I'm not I'm gonna say I was a product of my environment. However, it was fun until, my dad passed away.
Okay.
And then from there I moved to the Virgin Islands where my parents are from, and I was raised there as well.
Okay.
So I've moved back to live with my grandmother. My grandmother was a church-going young woman.
So how old were you when your father passed?
I was 15 years old.
15 years old.
Yeah.
And so you moved back to the Virgin Islands.
Correct.
And it's a different world from being in the Bronx to the Virgin
because now
Islands.
it's paradise. It's island life. It's beaches. You wake up in the morning, walk to the beach. You gotta get some coconut, get some mango. Island life. It was great. It was a little culture shock because I'm a city girl. Now I'm in an island world.
Okay.
But it was great. It was nothing bad. It was a good life. I'm not going to discredit my family or anything. It was a good life, but it's a learning experience, right? My grandmother was a Christian. She was a 7-day Adventist, and I love her to death. She taught me a lot, Of course, I was a knucklehead.
So you went against the grain.
Yeah, I mean, hey. I was my father's, I was born on his birthday. So I was spoiled. I was referenced as the boss's daughter. I got whatever I want. We had our good days, we had our bad days. But going back to the island, it was cool. It was nice. It was great. And I was just like, okay, went to school, was in everything under the sun, was very active and so forth. End up falling in love, graduated, had a son.
Okay, so how did you meet? So you met a guy, was he like a star player in the school back where?
No, he was not. He was a grown man that was not in school because I was a junior in school.
Okay.
And he was probably a couple of older than me, but he met me at basketball practice because I played basketball.
You played basketball, okay.
Correct.
Okay.
So he met me at practice and he was like, yeah, I want the tall one.
Okay. Yes, honey.
I want the tall one. And that's how that went. And then we connected and started dating and so forth. Not realizing he's also a former drug dealer.
Oh.
Right?
So you didn't know that
we didn't know until he told me the story. And I was like, you can't be. You'll be surprised what you're connected to. You attract who you are.
Yes.
And I tell people that. I say, you want to know why you keep attracting certain people? Because that's what's in you.
Yes, true. That is true.
That is what's in you. So I didn't realize until when he told me, and I'm like, should I tell him or should I not tell him that I was one? I was like, okay. I listened to everything he had to say because I was like, I don't know if he's a I don't know.
Right.
But, that's how we met. We fell in love. We had a baby and so forth. Life was just going through just different journeys. And then I decided that I'm going to move away to Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
Fell in love again with someone else. Had 4 amazing, beautiful girls.
So you did you get married in between then, or?
Child, no.
Okay.
I thought I was.
Oh, okay.
However, no shade.
No shade. No shade.
No shade. It's life. I'm young. You're exploring your options. You're doing your thing. You living your life.
Right.
It was good. It was bad. It was ups. It was down. And I'm grateful for every single thing because it made me the woman I am today.
Okay.
My girl's dad. We had a great time. We had bad times. Hey, okay, we decided that we're going to go our little separate ways or whatever. And now I've moved back.
To the Virgin Islands.
To the Virgin Islands.
Oh, okay, honey. Okay, so stop the traveling pants, honey.
Now the pressure is getting hard.
So now you got your babies, you got your son,
right?
And you're like, okay, you don't left your other boo, and you're like, I'm going back home.
Yes, I'm going back home. We actually moved down together.
Okay,
and things was just not working out. However, we was trying to co-parent and so forth, and I just like, it's time for me to just do me. You do you, and I'm gonna do me.
Was there any domestic stuff going on?
So of course, life. Yeah, there was little disagreements. There was, okay, you cheating. Okay, well, if you're gonna cheat, I'm gonna put on my yellow dress and cheat too.
Oh, okay, yellow dress.
Okay,
we love the yellow dress.
So what we doing? Because when you know who you are.
Yes. Yeah. Hello. They can't nobody tell you shit.
You know who you are.
You know
right?
who you are.
Okay. So in the midst of that, it was the trials and tribulations, and so it was a learning experience, and I've learned, and I just came to terms like, you know what? This is what it is.
Yes.
And I'm going to move forward. There was some toxicity in there, and I was entertaining it. However, I decided that I'm just going to go be a bartender.
Okay. So a question. When you were dating your guy friend, was you dabbling in the game, or was you just completely out of the game?
So I was completely out, and I didn't talk about it because I wanted to start
a new life.
So I left it alone. Okay. I didn't say anything.
But did you ever have like a little itch or like, ooh?
However, there was time where people would ask certain things, and I would say, well, why don't you try this, or why don't you do this, and why don't you do that? There was times when the opportunity presented itself, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. Well, here, hello. So let me tell you how it went back into the game.
Okay.
Became a bartender. I was working at a clothing store called BCBG.
Okay, I love BCBG. I remember that back in the day. Yes. I remember that.
Fashionista, just dressing people for a living, amazing. I decided that, I want to get a part-time job, and I'm always in the club having a good time and so forth. Why not make money? Okay, so I decided, you know what? I'm going to work and be a bartender. I created a name, Licious.
Okay.
Here it goes, Licious at the bar. Now I'm on the radio. I'm just popular bartender making these popular drinks and so forth.
Okay.
And now I meet my business partner at a event. There was an all-white event, and I met her there. So now we all connected and so forth. We began to bartend together and stuff at different events.
So you had got a bartender gang, like not a gang, like a business where you were bartending and you
then. We were just meeting each other.
Right. Okay.
So we were just meeting each other, and to the point where there was a promoter that was like, I like the way y'all bartend.
Okay.
Call the girl with the tall blow with the blonde hair.
Oh, okay.
Where's Licious? We want Licious. Okay. So me and her connected. We became really good friends. We started connecting, and we built a name for ourselves.
Okay.
Now, after we built the name for ourselves, there was an opportunity that presented itself. And I was like, yeah, but I was like, I'm in. What up? I know about that industry.
What was one thing that made you decide on being in it? Like, after being so long of like, oh no, I don't want to do that. What was one thing that like, okay, maybe I will take this offer, or maybe I will.
So I took the opportunity because we was just starting a business, right? Now, of course, when you're just starting a business, does anybody really take you serious when you're just starting a business?
No.
You could tell them all the great ideas.
Yes.
They see you like, yeah, we see you everywhere. We see you bartending everywhere. We see y'all doing y'all thing. Everybody love y'all drinks. Okay, are you want to help us? You want to front us? You want to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, y'all good, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so what you going to do if someone presented and say, okay, well, here's $50,000 cash, no tax?
I'll take that. I'll take that, and just can we do this behind? Let's not do it here at the bar. Let's wait till after we close. But I'm gonna take that. I'll take that from you.
Right. So when you presented with that opportunity, you're like, okay, well, I said, listen, if we're gonna do this, they got to be airtight. It got to, we're gonna do. We have children. We're single mothers. And it was just the both of us doing it. We were doing what we had to do. We provided by all means necessary. Now, I'm not going to say it was right, y'all.
Right.
But we made that choice. Okay? And I told an individual one time, I said, everybody got a price. What's
true.
yours?
Hello?
What's your price? What's your price when your car's about to get repoed? Your business is declining. Your children is in all kind of school activities and you're just over your head. Listen, this is not the right thing to do. And I'm not encouraging it.
Right.
But sometimes when you pressure really
when you're back against the wall.
Correct.
Yes,
pressure
yes.
really busts pipes. And you're going to do what you got to do for the moment.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important. Like, we really got to walk by faith and not by sight. I was walking by sight. Because I had a relationship with God, but it wasn't a close type relationship with God. And I say, well, baby, I need this.
Right.
So we did what we did. We move and we shake and so forth. And we realized, like, okay, we getting away with this. And how did we do it? We had a brick. We compressed the brick. Okay. We put in a Ziploc. Seal it. The little thing you put your meat in, and
the vacuum seal.
The vacuum seal. All right, and we would wrap it around the young ladies. We would have slim ones and we would have thick ones. I like the thick ones because we could put a lot of cocaine around them, so that it
would blend in with the
shape. Right. And of course, they will go and they will meet in the ladies' room.
Yes, ma'am. We love the ladies' room. We love the ladies' room. Yes, to the ladies' room. We'll drink to the ladies' room.
So they would meet in the ladies' room, and of course they would, give the cocaine to.
Okay, so a question. I don't want to cut you off. I just want to say this. Okay, so we're at the point now where you've met your girlfriend. Y'all are doing your thug thizzle in these streets, and it comes a time where you're like, I want to take this a little bit. I want to do a little bit more than just, because I want to say this. You wasn't just slanging on the corner. This wasn't a thing that you was.
No,
just,
we never slang on the corner.
It wasn't no corner slinging thing. We
was buying bricks and taking it to places.
This was Neiman Marcus. This was like the Neiman Marcus of it. Mm-hmm. So how and where did you get the idea to do it through an airline? Like, how did that come about?
So that idea came. It was something that was always in place, in position.
Okay.
Because I said, because, the island is small. So, that there's somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody.
Okay.
All right. So that, operation was already something operating for years. For years.
So it wasn't something that was like reinvent the wheel. It was just like rework the wheel.
Rework the wheel.
Yes.
Hey, this is what you're going to do. I know this person. I know that person. They have a dog. Okay, we're going to pay that person. Do a sniff test. All right, let's test it and see if you really, we test the waters. And when we saw that it worked, if it ain't broke, right?
Don't fix it.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
And that's just how it went. We just went ahead with the program and we just was consistent. And we said, okay, well now, since that we tried it, because one thing about me, I'm about process improvement and I want to know everything from the
Rudy to the Tootie. So in the instance when you're doing it and you're in the airport somewhere, did there ever come a time that you felt like, girl, when you was testing the theory, that you was like, girl, this is too good to be true. Like,
yes,
girl.
Yes, too good to be true. It was one time where I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to do something. And I was like, I'm going to go away real quick and I'm going to go away. I want to put something to the test and I'm going to go. So I decided I'm going to take my own up, right?
Right.
And I sat down And here goes the officers with the dog.
Okay.
Going with this regular routine. Okay. And I'm sitting by the bathroom after the transaction took place. I'm sitting by the bathroom and the dog comes. They was on my left. There was like a hallway to my left.
Okay.
So here goes the dog walking, and the dog stops, and then the dog walks towards me. I said,
shoot.
if there's a God in heaven, if there's a God in heaven, you said God. So I
You would never be for me or forgets me.
Right. So I stayed calm. I didn't show no sign of nothing. I just pulled out my laptop and I act like, I just started looking on the internet, just started browsing and just, so the dog came and it was around me and then it like stopped. Okay. Now, in their training that I was told, anytime a dog does that, that means there's something
Thinking going on.
in this individual. Okay. So they're so busy talking and conversating. He pulled the dog.
And he just came on.
He got up and he just walked that way.
Whoa, there is a God, honey. There is a God.
I'm
There
saying.
is a God. So in that moment when that happened,
I
what
said, okay, so we have to do a test with an individual that's connected on because everybody got a price, right?
Everybody got a price. Everybody got a price.
We need to get a connection in here to do a test with an animal, with the dog. All right, and we need to put it in the bag, 2 different bags, one with a scent and one without a scent, and we need to see what the dog is going to do. And that's what my business partner, she did that. She was like, okay, we're going to do this and this is what we're going to do. And I said, okay, you go handle that and I'm going to handle this. Right. So it was like, okay. And they did the test. And when we got, they will let us know time, place, everything.
And and when you did the test, how did it actually?
It was good.
It was good.
It was good.
And so that's after you did that test, after it was good, that's when you was like, okay, this is how we're gonna move through the security.
Right. We're still gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna make sure we're extra cautious. We're gonna put the little secret formula, and then we're gonna move, forward and so forth. And it worked. It worked.
What airline was it that you were?
All airlines that we want to connect to.
All airlines that you were.
Yeah.
What was one of your favorites to do it through? Oh.
Delta.
Oh. Why Delta out of all the airlines?
Because we just want to be first class.
First class, yes, we love first
No
class.
shade to American Airlines, but we just wanted Delta.
You wanted Delta?
Yeah.
Okay. So you so when you were doing it, you was doing all that, and let's talk about one thing. We're now making money, right? Because we're moving product from. Okay, at one point, where was your product going from? The Virgin Islands to where? Did you have like different spots that you was transporting it to?
There's 50 states on the map, right?
So all 50.
I'm not going to say all 50 states, but there was selective states.
What was your top heavy hitters?
Should we say? No comment.
I will accept that. So you're making money now, and it's all about the Benjamins. What are some of the wildest things that you spent money on?
So, of course, you're going to live the life that you probably always dreamed of living. And especially when you have children, you want to make sure your children have everything. They don't ask for nothing. I hired a driver.
Oh. So was that in your peak? Was that in your peak? Hiring a driver?
Yeah, so because when I'm working and my children was very active.
Okay.
They wanted to go to pageants. They want to do this. They want to go out. They want to do different things. So when I'm actually really, really working an event, the business, the bar business, I'm like, okay, well, let's call the driver. Call the driver and then have him pick you up. And I'll say, hey, I need to pick up the girls at this time. And then, drop them off, pick them up, and then just let me know, and then I'll pay him and so forth. So they, they had their personal driver.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I would buy them, this is a diamonds, because when your mommy buy you these diamonds, no man can come and tell you.
Yes.
They're going to get you with diamonds because it's going to be like, well, my mom buys that. What else can you do?
Yes.
So I show them, the both sides, the best of both worlds. You're going to eat lavish. We're going to go and take trips. And then so now when they come at you, they have to come correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the bartending business, was that like a illusion for?
No, that was real.
That was real.
That was
Okay.
definitely real. That was definitely Fire Red. You know, my lieutenant.
Yes.
You know, she was one of my bartenders as well.
Okay.
So it was real. We really did events. We was like the island's. You know, the name of the business was called Sugar Fingers.
Oh, we love Sugar Fingers.
Right.
Ooh.
It was called Sugar Fingers. So
sticky.
So whatever.
It's getting sticky.
Wherever you see Sugar Fingers, you know you're gonna have a good time. You know it's gonna be lit. You know it's gonna be great. Like, oh yeah, they're here. All our girls, you know, was pretty. Like my business partners out, we worked hard. We had some bad girls on our side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing, and in your peak, how much were you pulling in a week?
For the bar?
For the operation for you for
We're not gonna comment on that right now.
Oh, okay. For the bar, how much were you pulling in?
For the bar, we was probably doing maybe I'm gonna say approximately 5,000 a week, just depending on you know the events and so forth.
Okay, so that's good. That's good.
I mean, yeah, it's good, but you still have to take into consideration of, you know, I used to buy uniforms and I used to always make sure that the girls have something to wear and so forth. So it's like we was making money, but not really making in that first. Right. So it was, but it was good money out there, you know, and then sometimes we would give people the opportunity to give us a chance to show ourselves and so on. So sometimes we will cut our payment in half because now we're trying to prove ourselves.
Right.
And that's what kind of made us dibble and dabble into, you know, being a street distributor.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say farmers, but a distributor. So that we're able to like, let's build our business, but we're gonna build it off of this drug money.
Okay. So let's talk about that. So you're building the players in the game. You know, you're building the players in the game. Let's talk about how it all started. Like not all started because we're past that. Let's talk about the whole thing of you bringing in let's talk about the lieutenant, Fire Red. How did that happen and where did she come into play into all of this?
Okay, so I'm going to tell that part, and then she's going to have the opportunity to tell her part.
Okay.
So, of course, you know, she met us with bartending and so forth. We recruited, my business partner, we recruited girls. You know, hey, I want you to do this run, make this money. You want to make extra money. Who don't want to make extra money? That was like the conversation.
So you would meet, the girls would be bartenders.
Not all of them were.
Okay, but it's not all of them were.
No, it may be some individuals that we knew. Like, hey, you want to make some extra money? You know, and everybody was most likely mothers. Most of them were mothers. Maybe 2 or 3 was not. But, you know, you want the opportunity to make some extra money here. You could probably make $2,500 if you take this trip.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Girl, I wish I was a mother. I would be, mercy mother, honey. I was merciful mother.
Somebody get him. So, of course, you know, who would turn down money?
Right,
you know,
right.
so that, you know, when the opportunity presented itself, they took it. The system was legit. Everything was great. Everything was rolling to the point where the ball was dropped. You know, my business partner and I, we began to like start to get distance because she was more into the street game and I was more focused into our business. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna take the money from the street game because I want to build the business, but I'm like, we're losing sight, you know. And there's no shade to her because sometimes, you know, you want to be able to save your life and your children. I get that,
right.
But sometimes we do lose sight because I lost sight.
Yes. Because
You know,
we get so like this.
we
We
get
doing
greedy.
hair. With hair, you get so in it that you be like, child, you lose sight. You get greedy.
Correct.
You get all these things.
Correct.
So that's happened.
Correct.
That's true.
And, you know, and that happened. You know, things happen. Okay, and it happened for a reason. God allowed it to happen. Okay, so now my business partner and I, we began to separate.
Okay.
But we're still doing the business. But
So y'all still doing y'all separate from bartending.
No, we're separating from just like she's into the game.
In the ladies' room. She's in the ladies' room.
She's in the ladies' room.
Okay.
And I'm more focused on like the business.
The
Like,
business.
let's get this. There came a time where she made a phone call and that individual phone was being wiretapped.
Okay, we're not gonna go that far because
Okay.
we're gonna let
That's
her.
how we get. That's how,
okay.
that's how we get up to Fire Red, the lieutenant.
Red. Okay.
Right. So of course, Fire Red had the opportunity. The opportunity presented herself. She took the opportunity, of course, not realizing on the back end, the phones are tapped.
That the phones have been so were they watching the person that she was talking to, or were
They
watching?
was watching, yes, and this individual was in I'm gonna say Philly or Pittsburgh, Fire Ed. They were in Ohio.
So you had stash houses and work all the way out there in Ohio, girl. Girl, that's over miles and miles away, girl.
For the record, we didn't have any stash houses.
Well, not stash houses. I shouldn't say stash houses, but girl, you had product out there in Ohio.
So that individual was being wiretapped for a whole nother situation.
Okay.
And of course, with being wiretapped, how the federal government works, for those that don't know, once they have a understanding of what the conversation is like, they're going to alert the feds in the area that you in to look into this matter, because this is what the conversation was like. And that's what happened. So they tapped her phone and they was able to hear everything, but they was able to watch her and
they went from there.
Correct. And then how Fire Red got caught up was they heard the conversation that day of her taking product. And when she went to the airport, she had a very bad feeling about it, because you could hear that all in the phone call. She was like, "This don't feel right. This don't feel right." I got a phone call from another person who, my business partner asked her. She said, "Listen, I don't know. I don't feel like doing this." I said, "Let me tell you something. You don't feel like doing it, don't do it. However, you want to make your money, make your money." Because I was doing my stuff too. But I said, if you want to make your money, that's fine. But if you, I always say, follow your gut.
Yes.
That's something says God. That's a warning.
That is.
Right?
That is.
So of course, my business partner, she just was like, "No, everything is good. You safe. But the other individual backed out and said, "I don't want it. I'm not available. I'm ghosting." And that's what they did. And from there, as she's about to board the plane, they stopped her. But we're gonna let
Fire Red tell her side of the story. The lieutenant, as they called her, right? Is that right, Purpose? The lieutenant.
She was a lieutenant based on the federal hierarchy.
The federal hierarchy. The ABC boys. The ABC boys.
And the Alphabet boys ain't no joke. Baby.
We're going to let her tell her side of the story. All right, so... for it. So Lonnie, she got wiretap. And when she did the wiretap, it goes from there, her getting hung up with the wiretap. Then they start investigating her operation. And that's when it goes the day of her getting on the plane.
Right, because they're listening to my business partner phone calls, seeing who she's speaking to.
Okay, I'm asking Lonnie. Lonnie, so how are you, girl?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I just want to say welcome to the ladies' room.
It's my pleasure.
And I just want to say thank you so much. So we were talking with Coach Purpose, and Coach Purpose is telling us about the part of the wiretap. So if you can just give me a backstory about you and how... and give us the backstory about you and how we got up until the wiretap. That would be amazing.
Okay, well, I don't want to say, how do I say it? I did this for a little while.
Okay.
And everything was good. Like, the money was coming in, living. I was a single mom with a 4-year-old at the time.
Okay.
He didn't want for anything. Like parents, our kids have to be good always.
Right.
Good. And for this last trip, my gut was telling me, don't do it. And so I called and I was like, I don't want to do it. And it was like, oh, don't worry about it. Everything is okay. Not knowing the phones are already tapped.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and before that, one of the trips that I was taking, the day before the trip, my dad got a heart attack.
Oh, wow. Really?
And then, yes, this was in June, either May or June. He had the heart attack, and I was like, this is God telling me to stop.
Right.
The warnings.
It was good. It was easy money. I still had a regular 8 to 5, but that was the extra money on the side. So I was like, okay. And then July 1st, the day before, I don't feel good about this. So I made a phone call, and I was like, hey, I don't think I should do it. He was like, no, go ahead. You're tripping. Everything is going to be okay. You're good. Blah, 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 blah. So I got the phone call in the morning, and my flight wasn't until 1 o'clock. And they were like, you need, but of course, in the Virgin Islands, you have to be there And I was actually boarding American Airlines, not Delta.
Big up to the Delta.
Not Delta. So I did so usually we get there 3 hours in advance because we have to clear customs and TSA.
Okay.
It's not just TSA. So I got there and everything went smooth, but I got a phone call early in the morning and she was like, the individual, she was like, get to the airport very early. And I was like, no, because now I don't feel good about it. So I'm like stalling it, procrastinating. She called me and I was like, I'm doing my hair. You got to wait. Like my hair comes first.
Right. Like, girl.
So, yeah, like, and my hair is, at that point, it was bright red, like super long. That's how I got the name Fire Red.
Fire red. Okay, so you got the fire red because you had the fire red hair. Okay.
So I booked in, I picked up everything, went to the ladies' room, of course.
Hello, we love the ladies' room.
Love it. And as I'm leaving the ladies' room, the dogs are coming.
Okay.
There's this hallway that we have in our airport that's there. It's like a gate. It's a gate, but it's a gate down a hallway.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm walking and there's a female officer and there's a dog. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I walk straight past. I went to the cafeteria. Well, I'm in the cafeteria and I look behind of me and they're following me. But now they can't bring the dogs into the cafeteria because it's the dogs and the food and everything. They can't do it. So I called my friend and I was like, the dogs are following. She was like, don't worry about it. You're good. I have eyes in the sky, et cetera, et cetera. You're okay. I'm like, okay, whatever. So then I had someone that I knew that was working the counter for American.
Mm-hmm.
Well, little did I know, Customs had already went and asked them if there was a passenger by Lonnie flying. Now, Lonnie isn't my real name. That's my alias. So she knows, and she was like, this don't seem right. So she came in the back. She texted me, and she was like, hey, where you at? I was like, in the cafeteria, because now I am avoiding having direct contact with the dogs.
Right.
So I'm there, and she comes to me, and she was like, hey, Customs just came and asked if there's a passenger by the name of Lonnie flying. And I was like, this don't seem right. I was like, okay. So in my mind, my first thing was, this is it. Like, I don't know what to do because now I have to make the trip. I already have everything on me, on my person. Like everything, I already have everything. So I went through and I was first class. That's the problem. First class. So we went, and as soon as I scanned my ticket to get on, because you have to walk outside to go up the steps to board the plane.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I scanned my ticket and I walked outside, I saw the customs vehicle run around, like speed around the plane. And I'm in first class, so I'm boarding first. And the dog, he let the dog out from the back of the plane, and the dog ran past me. But they already were coming for me because the dogs didn't smell anything. The dog ran past me straight, went up into the plane, come back, passed me again, went back to the vehicle, came back past me, and never did anything. But they already had that wire and that tip that it was me.
Mm-hmm.
The red hair, of course, gave it away because there was no other passengers with this bright red hair.
Oh, wow.
And with the wiretap, the original person that started it, we've actually met with the individual, and they had videos from that. And again, my hair was red.
Oh, wow.
So they already had everything.
So they had everything. They was already looked. So from the conversations that they had already had, with the wiretaps and all that, they had already kind of pieced together.
We know it's her. We just got to get you in the act.
And that's what they did. And they caught her in the act. Okay, so when they caught you in the act that day, what was going through your mind? Like, oh my God.
At the same time, I was boarding the plane. The Alicia's business partner, Purpose, sorry. Her business partner was calling me at the same time. And I went to answer the phone in front of the officers because now I was already detained.
Uh-huh.
And she grabbed the phone on my hand, and I grabbed my phone back. Don't pull my phone, it's mine.
Right.
And I went to answer the phone, and at that time, they had already gotten around that They caught me.
Oh wow.
They had pictures. They had everything of me on the airport.
It just went like
Viral.
viral. It was like wildfire.
Oh wow! So when Lonnie when she got detained and arrested, how long was it before you got the information?
So when Lonnie got picked up in July, that same day, I had like several group chats in my phone. So one of the it is a group trap. Yeah, one of the group chats, they put it in there and it was like, Lonnie just got busted with selling drugs. So now I'm quiet. I'm reading everything everyone's saying, right? I'm quiet because I like, what? WTF?
What the hell is going on?
So I said, my heart started beating fast. I got knots in my stomach because I said, oh yeah, they coming for me next. So now I'm quiet because in a situation like you want to know what's next.
Yes.
You want to know, well, is she gonna say nothing? And then the first thing with the great folks of the Virgin Islands, oh, she's a this, she's a that, she's a rat. They had a picture of a rat. They were just saying all kind of things that she was doing.
Oh.
But Lonnie never said anything.
Okay.
So what I did was I had to insert myself because I want to really know what's really going on. So I called a friend and I was like, yo, I need your eyes and I need your ears. And I need you to tell me everything. So they was like, nah, she didn't say nothing.
So is this friend like working in the...
Listen, the island is small. You got people that I got friends in high places, right?
Okay, I can get that. I see
Correct.
that. I see that.
I'm a very resourceful person.
I see that, and I love that. I love that.
I said, listen, I need to know. So they was like, all right, I'm going to get back to you later. Don't worry about it. But I'm nervous. I'm scared because I'm like, oh, my God. So now I'm like, should I prepare myself? Should I prepare myself? So they had to let her go.
Okay, cool.
The reason why they let her go is because they had a wiretap and she had drugs, but they really didn't have substantiated evidence to say we going to detain her.
Right,
because if they had kept her for some reason, I think the federal agent was saying, like, we really didn't have proof even though we have the drugs, but we really don't know. They didn't want her. They wanted who she was taking the drugs to.
They wanted out head.
Oh.
Yes, they want who she was taking the drugs to. So if they had, let's just say that they didn't pick her up and they let her continue with the trip, they probably would have
got the lady that they was looking for in the room.
Not even the lady, the person who they wanted.
The wanted.
You know what I'm saying? But Lonnie never said, Fire Red never said
anything.
She said anything. So they let her out. So now I'm sitting back in the shadows because now I want to watch. I'm listening. I'm trying to understand what's going on. So of course, I'm like, okay, let me see. They're going to have a superseding indictment. Now that's when they have additional evidence and some type of substantiated to pick that individual up. Whatever they do, they got to take it to the grand jury. They're going to take it to the grand jury because they say, oh, we got other players? Well, we're going to go to the grand juror and we're going to present this substantiated information to them. And if they say, go ahead, have a warrant and pick them up, that's what happens. If they say you don't have enough evidence,
then you can't pick them up.
Correct. So I'm just waiting. I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? So, my cousin was like, if any of those other females call your name, they just need 2 witnesses, they're going to pick you up. So now my stomach just dropped. So I looked at my kids. I said, all right, God. All right. Okay, let me see. But I'm quiet. I'm quiet. I'm looking. I'm being normal. Then eventually my business partner, she was away. Now she's on America, the FBI most wanted. Then another one of our females, the FBI most wanted. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna be on the FBI most wanted too because we're connected.
Yes, and right? It's like the ABC boys kind of know what's going on now.
So of course, with the other individuals that got picked up, they started to speak. They started to talk. They started to say certain stuff. Right. So I'm like, I'm still being normal. Regular, I'm being normal. And my bar manager at the time, I honestly believe that she interviewed with the Alphabet Boys. And why I say that is because I had an event with like a competition in another island that I had to go to. So I had to go to my distributor. I had to pick up my liquor. So I stopped by her because I said, hey, I'm going to get everything together for tomorrow. At that time, my daughter is running for a pageant. One of my daughters running for a pageant. So I'm like, listen, she got pageant practice. I got to get this liquor together. You know, she was like, hey, somebody called my phone because they want to set up an interview. They want an appointment because they want to have a birthday party for their mother's 80th birthday.
Oh, right.
Of course, I'm not going to think anything of it.
Right. It's just the 80th birthday.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
We the bartenders, right?
Yes.
I need to get my girls in order so we could do this party. 80th? Okay, yeah. So, okay, great. I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to be able to meet them. She said, no, I'm going to have clients or something. I didn't think nothing of it. There was no sign. There was no feeling in me. There was nothing.
It was just a regular smuggler conversation.
So she called the person. And this is why I said she had an interview with the Alphabet Boys, because you called them. How they got your number?
Right.
Because my number is on the site.
And how did it? Whoa.
My number is on the business site.
Whoa.
Right. So she called them. They didn't answer. So they called back. She was like, they're calling back. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm delicious. Da, 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 da. They was like, yeah, my mother's making 80th. And I'm speaking to a female. And I said, okay, great. Well, can I come and meet you now? They was like, no. It was like 5 going on 6 o'clock. It's the end of the day. So the end of the day, the courts is closed. Can't meet a judge. You can't do, that stuff.
Right.
So they said, we're going to meet you tomorrow at 10. I said, no problem. Where you want to meet? So they said, when they want to meet. We met in front of like one of my favorite coffee shops. I said, okay, we could definitely do that. So at that time, I woke up, nothing again.
Nothing's hitting your gut. Nothing is saying like, girl, don't go there.
Nothing.
Nothing said that.
So she called me. She texted me. She was like, hey, where you at? I said, I just woke up. It's 10 o'clock. I'm supposed to meet people at 10 o'clock.
Oh, it's just 10. I'm still in the bed.
Right.
I'm
like, I just got up. I'm coming. I just overslept. Baby girl had practice in XYZ. So now I'm on my way there. And I come into the gate and I park literally in front of the feds. Literally parked up in front of the feds.
Whoa.
So I come out the car. I saw the 2 guys in the SUV, the Yukon. So I come out, walking, go about my business, and I heard my name called. So when they called my name, I turned around and I said, he stood by my Jeep. And I said, hey, I know who you are. Because obviously I went to court to see what was going on because I was trying to find out what was going on with my business partner. I went to one of her hearings.
And you saw him.
I saw him. I saw the prosecutor. And I know that they looked at me. But I was like, do they know who I am or do they not know who I am, right? So they was like, yeah. And he went in his shirt and he pulled out his badge and he said, my name is
such and
I am the federal agent. We have a warrant out for your arrest. So the one federal officer came behind me. Because if I run, I've obviously,
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, we have her. Couple cars down, there was other federal agents.
Sitting and waiting and watching.
Right. Because if I run, they're going to get me, right? So I'm not going to make a big scene. Are you crazy? So he said, we're going to handcuff you in the front. And then we're not going to handcuff you in the back. So, of course, it's just a normal smuggler day. So they handcuffed me in the front. I said, wait, I have a meeting inside. They was like, no, I said, no, I got to tell them. They was like, no, where your meeting?
So do you think that your bartender snitched on you?
She did. The bar manager.
The bar manager snitched on you.
And what confirmed it was after I went in, I'm in the interrogation room, and I'm going to tell you guys this. Your Miranda rights is real. What it says on that, they will use that against you in the court.
That's true. I believe you. I believe you.
So you're thinking like, if I tell on myself, because I'm not even gonna lie, and I don't care what anybody say. I told what I did. Now I could have told a lot more, but I didn't.
Right.
Because it was, and why I did that is because when they came to me and they told me things that nobody should have known, but me and that individual.
Yes.
I said, well, goddamn.
And you thought that was wild? Just wait until part 2.
I'm a dreamer, so he showed me a lot of things in my dream. I'm taking you on this roller coaster, but you're gonna shift. The streets is ugly and mean, y'all. Like, the internet is ugly and mean. If you know you said it, if you know you're right, you know she's right. I don't know why she did it. It was everybody had something to say. She knows she was Everyone had something to say, and
What goes on in the courtroom for you that day?
like the movie Con Air.
Uh-huh.
If y'all ever see the movie Con Air, that's real. That's a real thing.
Yes.
Con Air is a real thing. I walk these streets and I don't care, and I dare somebody to do something to me.
Well, hello.
It was just like you have 12 people deciding your fate. You know, you have some people who are friends, and you have some people who's friends of the friends that's a part of, because they want to know, well, since she's going, I want to sit and see what's being said. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't want to go by he say, she say. You know, you sometimes they chain you together or they chain. And if somebody slips, everybody coming down. It's just moments of that, like, oh my God, take your time. I ain't tell you take your time. Shut the fuck up. No talking. They just talk to you like animals.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And of course, it was a good thing because I was more inspirational. I was more motivational. I was like an inspirational catalyst in the prison community. Even though I still did my little things. I'd be walking around my little crochet bag knowing I'm not supposed to. But, if that was me, I didn't care. I was confident.
Thank you for watching this episode, but don't leave yet, guys. If you want to watch this episode, click right here. If you want to watch something a little more fun, a little more off the cutting room floor, watch this episode right here. See you soon, roomies.